after like a couple weeks, I had completely rebuilt the entire crew platform in a way that I liked better because it was entirely mine. And at some point during those few weeks, I mean, basically every minute of those few weeks, I was just like sitting there, like, what is happening? I used to need an entire team of men to translate my ideas into real products. And I have literally just built this whole thing. Um, it was so mind-blowing and so empowering. So of course I kept building and I ended up pivoting Crew into an AI career companion called Lumi, entirely built on Lovable. At this point, I had let go of most of the Crew team, so it was just me, but I kept one engineer on who I loved because I was like, I need an engineer, right? Like this is, this would be crazy if I could do all of this without an engineer. But I kept like building in Lovable and I kept looking for things to hand off to my engineer. And I would hit, like at one point, I remember I was like, okay, we need a Slack integration. Connor, can you go work on the Slack integration? And he was a great engineer and he took that and he scoped it and he made a plan and he's like, all right, this is going to take me 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, yeah, yeah, great. And then I think it was just like one night in front of the TV, I was like, I wonder if Lovable could do this Slack integration. So I just typed it in and Lovable did it. And I was like, okay, I guess I don't need an engineer anymore. Um, so that was kind of my journey to discovering these tools. But really, and I'm sure you can all relate to this, this was kind of a journey of incredible empowerment and this, eye-opening feeling and realization that as a non-technical person who has a lot of ideas, I could enact and manifest basically any of those ideas that I wanted because Lovable and other AI tools made that possible. So I was building Lumi. It was a ton of fun, but that realization kind of started to trump what I was doing with Lumi. And I realized that everyone needed to know about this because if we all knew just how much we could get done with Lovable in this new crazy era of AI building, then I thought a lot more people could build businesses and have more agency over their careers and earn more money, and especially us women. So that translated into my current company, Watch Me AI, which is a platform where I coach and teach people how to use AI tools mainly to earn more money and have agency over their own careers, and really have fun doing it. So today I wanted to quickly touch on my tool stack because I always get questions on this, and I think knowing what tools to use as you turn your build into a business is maybe not half the equation, but a chunk of it. And then I want to go through a few hard-earned lessons that I hope will inspire you and maybe save you a little bit of time as you do your building. So this is my tool stack. We can get into some more specifics as I go on. But hopefully, obviously, you're all using Lovable. I'm guessing you're all using ChatGPT or Claude. Couple on here that I want to point out in case you're not using them because they have been true accelerators for my business. Granola or any meeting recorder. If you're not recording your meetings yet, I see a lot of otter people on here. Great, like you got to, and we can talk a little bit about how that saves time and helps me. I've started using voice for basically everything, and I'm using a product called Whisperflow for voice, and it also helps me go way faster. Relay is my agent builder, which when I started sounded scary, but it's just like Lovable. You just talk to it and tell it what agent or automation you want it to build, and it does it. I use it a lot for things like automating LinkedIn, like posting and critiquing my posts and finding posts that I should be commenting on, that kind of thing. Kit is my newsletter and it has really easy integrations with Lovable. And then Tela is a video recorder. Canva's amazing for imagery stuff. And of course, LinkedIn. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff or the hard stuff. Okay, I have five lessons for you today. And the first might be a little counterintuitive, but it's a really good one. Market and sell your product before you are ready. So the tendency here, and I still succumb to this, is that you can't sell anything until you have built your whole product and maybe even it's like perfect. And I really want you to throw that away. And I'll show you an example of how I do this. So I am launching in 2 weeks my AI business playbook, which is basically like a course on steroids with all sorts of ways to use AI. And it's not live yet. But I've been selling it for since I think early December. So the way I did this is I built this landing page in Lovable. It's got information on what's gonna be in the course. And then for December, I did early bird pricing. And now I'm doing founding member pricing. So it went up a little bit from early bird, but it's still below the standard price. So I'm basically giving people a huge discount if they purchase it before they can actually access it. So great way to sell your thing and literally bring in cash before you have built the product. It's great for validating that people want your idea. It's exactly, it's market testing. And once you have people who have paid for you, it's really good motivation and accountability to build it. And you start to see who those customers are. So I find building a lot easier when I can envision like the people who have already purchased it and start to think about what they might want from the experience. So you can basically always do this with some sort of early bird something. And I promise you, you will learn so much about marketing and selling, all the other stuff besides building. Lesson two, posting feels icky. Do it anyway. Before I was a frequent LinkedIn poster, I felt yucky posting on LinkedIn and kind of yucky sending like a weekly newsletter and definitely yucky pinging people in my network to see if they wanted to buy the thing that I was doing. And a couple things helped me get over this. One was I heard from another founder who is prolific on LinkedIn. He's the founder of Relay. His name is Jacob Bank. And he said this thing that really resonated with me, which is when he posts on LinkedIn, his only constraint or goal is to post something helpful for his audience. And so when I think about my posts and I think about them through that lens, that has really helped me because I have stuff in my head that will help other people. And if I can publish it and share it, then I am helping those other people to learn about AI. So that has been a big unlock for me in terms of posting and sharing. And the other big unlock or tactic that I use for this is using my granola transcripts, or whatever your meeting recorder is, those calls that you have, even a call with a friend, or I don't know, if Whitney and I are catching up and we're just kind of chatting about stuff, there's probably a nugget in every conversation you have that where you've shared an insight or you've discussed something interesting about the market or you've explained a concept that someone else might not know. And it's all captured in that transcript. So I have started going to granola after basically every call. I actually built this as a granola recipe, which I'm happy to share. And the recipe is called like Create LinkedIn Post. And it looks through each transcript and pulls like three or five ideas for what would make a good LinkedIn post for my audience from that transcript. And it saves me so much thinking because you've already said the smart things. Granola has captured them. Now it's going to synthesize them for you, and all you have to do is post. Okay, number Three, and I think I already saw Deb and maybe some others mention this in the chat, builds in public. Related to posting might feel icky, but this one I think is really necessary for finding your audience because so you've now built something in Lovable, which is amazing, right? Building is hard and also fun and exciting and creative, and you've done that part and you're probably already mastered Lovable. I think what's harder than that is distribution. So finding the people who will actually pay you for the thing that you have built. And that, fortunately or unfortunately, is probably where you need to spend more time than actually building the thing. That's a hard truth that I don't love, but is very, very true. And so, building in public, i.e., sharing the story of how you're building and why you're building and what you're building and the highs and the lows and the mistakes that you made and the like random feature that you found in Lovable that day that really made your day. All of that stuff is one, just good content to be putting out there, but two, that is how people find you. That's your bat signal. So you've got to be putting it out there so that people can find you because again, the hardest part of turning your build into something that makes you money is distribution. So try to make this as easy for your customers as you can by putting out your signal into the world. I use LinkedIn. I've made kind of a strategic choice to just focus on LinkedIn in terms of the social channels. That said, I've now started building automations so I instantly turn my LinkedIn posts into Twitter posts and soon Instagram and TikTok posts. Um, I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't super fast. Uh, but LinkedIn so far has been like enough of a channel for me without needing those other ones. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna open up the Q&A. Um, do you mind sharing how successful this approach has been? My business coach suggested the same founding member structure. What type of funnel do you suggest building pre-launch? These are great questions. Um, I don't know how to gauge success. So for this course, I have only marketed it via my newsletter so far. So I have not yet built my funnels or my email sequences, or I've certainly not done any paid advertising. I haven't done much of that yet. I just got the idea for this kind of in like maybe end of November. So I would say, I think in my early bird, I had about 15 sales coming from that, which I was pretty happy with that amount of limited marketing. I'll get to my 2026 planning because I did a bunch of planning for this with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was really good at like helping me crystallize that I need to set up all of those funnels and do a lot more around that this month. So that is my new focus, and I'll show you some numbers when I get to that slide. And how do you build in public while preserving IP? Um, that is a great question. Here's my take on that, which is I do not think at all really about IP. Um, I think the stuff that I'm sharing, like you could find it, you could ask ChatGPT for the stuff that I put out, or you could, there are other people who are sharing similar content as me. I've never felt like that was the biggest risk to my business. I think there are so many people who are hungry, at least for learning AI, which is what I do. Um, and really, their choice is going to come down, I think, more to if they vibe with me and if I'm reaching them, like literally just awareness of what I'm doing. So I tend not to worry too much about that. But if anyone else has ideas for Portia on that, I'm all ears. And keep the questions coming.
Hey Molly, can I ask you? We have one from YouTube. You mentioned you've built your latest platform on Lovable. Are you also using Supabase?
Yes. Um, I use Supabase, I use Supabase as needed, integrated with Lovable. My current, when I was building Lumi, which was a much more involved product that stored a lot of customer information and it was just a bit more complicated. Supabase was like, I was all in on Supabase for that. Right now, my personal website where I've got all this stuff going is pretty simple. And so I don't need to store a lot. Or if the stuff I'm storing is usually just emails and I'm storing that in Kit. So I haven't needed to rely on Supabase as much. That said, as I build this playbook, which I'm building in Lovable, once I add the authentication bits, I will amp up my Supabase usage. And then I saw a question in here. Did you do your automations for posting in Lovable? I think, Cheryl, you're probably referring to the automations I mentioned with Relay. Um, no, I don't use Lovable for those. I use relay.app and happy to, if we have more time at the end, I'm happy to show you more about that. I also have some free resources on my site if you want to think more about that. Whitney, let me know if there's any other questions I've missed. All right, number 4. So when you are ready to sell your thing, which should probably be yesterday, you have to put a price on it. And this is this is like kind of funny. Nobody knows how to price anything. Like even when you are at a high growth, like very successful startup, nobody knows how to price anything, especially today when AI is changing everything and like the smartest people in the world have not figured this out. So give yourself a break. Pricing is really hard. Nobody knows what the right price is basically for anything. What's much more important is that you slap a price on it and charge because that is how you learn. So for me, I think when I was first pricing certain products, I just went into ChatGPT and I was like, all right, I have no idea what this price should be. Can you show me some benchmarks for similar products and do a little bit of thinking on what my audience might expect. And ChatGPT did like a very nice strategy assessment on pricing and came back with some numbers. And like that's basically all you should do because you're never gonna get it perfect. So just pick something, put it out there and see if people are buying. And you can always change it. Okay, number 5 is a bit of a catch-all. Um, AI for everything. Yeah. But I guess my thinking here is I use AI for every aspect of my business. And I'll share a couple examples that maybe help spark some ideas for you for other things that ChatGPT or Claude or Lovable or whoever could be helping you with. So the first one that I sort of touched on is business planning. So I did a lot of rigorous planning for my business just a couple weeks ago at the start of this year. And the way that I did that was I kind of went between ChatGPT and Claude because I always go between the two. ChatGPT knows more about my business, so that's really great. It has like really good memory. Claude had a better like way to visualize it, which I'll show you. So I like, ChatGPT kind of knows already a lot of what's going on with my business, but I think some of the prompts that I put in, and I also have a resource on this on my site, were things like, all right, I got to get really ruthless with this coming year. I put in my income goal, and basically it was this exercise in having ChatGPT help me to focus because my biggest Achilles heel is that I want to do everything. I'm excited about everything, and I think I have endless energy and time, which I don't. And so when I don't meet my revenue goals, it's because I'm doing way too much. And so ChatGPT was really good at being this ruthless coach and partner and really grounding me in reality for what I have time for and therefore what I should focus on. So I'll show you the output of this. which is still a work in progress. So I did all the planning in ChatGPT and then I moved it over to Claude and had Claude build me this little website because I just needed to visualize it, which again, really easy. It's like one or two prompts. So this first I did my financial plan. Let's start there. So this is my financial plan for the year. I always think it's helpful to see other people's numbers, so hopefully this helps you. My constraints for this year, which I started with, is I only want to work 30 hours a week and I want to take the summer off. So, given that, and doing some, chatting with my husband, I was like, okay, I'm aiming for around 200K. And ChatGPT helped me kind of slice that into my current two core revenue streams, or I guess there's three, which is I have a client on a retainer model. I want to grow this playbook quite a lot. And then I do some intensives, which I want to shrink down. So that's it. It's like really simple, which took a lot of ruthless prioritization again, because literally it was me like every minute being like, but what about this other idea that I really want to do? And it ChatGPT would be like, not the year. So that was great. So it helped me come up with this plan with my monthly revenue, and there's like assumptions baked in. I had it do a bear case. This is my base case. This is my bull case. The sort of like watch outs for what this depends on. I then had to turn this into a sprint schedule. So I've got like more detail for January and then it's getting into more of like a monthly rotation as we get into February, and I'll get more specific as I get into those months. But this has been really helpful for focusing me. And I literally look at this like 10 times a day. I'm like, okay, what's this week again? Okay, just do those things. And then it gave me a scorecard because I need help being accountable. And so this is me staying focused on all that matters is playbook purchases. And the top of the funnel for that is new email subscribers. So I have my targets for all of those. And then every week I will enter those and see my list growth and my sales eventually. And it's got my funnel math down here. So,
Molly, I
yeah.
have to ask, and I'm a little afraid in case your answer is different than I expect. Did you make this in Lovable?
I could have made this in Lovable.
We'll
Um,
forgive you this time.
yeah, I was just really curious because everyone's been talking about Claude Code recently. And so I was like, I wonder, I'm trying to learn Claude Code. So I made this in Claude, but I will move it into Lovable because that's where everything lives for me. Um, okay. I think, oh yeah, let's go back to number five. And I realize we're rapidly running out of time. AI for everything. The other thing I love using AI for is my therapist slash cheerleader slash coach, which hopefully you're all doing already. I ask it things like, um, I'm having a bad day, help. And also, I hate this plan. Just tell me how to make $1 million this year. And it's great for all of those things. Okay, so the sentiment that I want to end on is there has never been a better time for women to build. We have so much capability at our fingertips, mainly through Lovable and a few other tools. And I love what Whitney's doing with She Builds because I think we are so much stronger and more inspired when we come together and and build together. So it's really great to see all of you here, and please let me know if I can be helpful. And I am cheering all of you on, and congratulations.
Thank you, Molly. Yes, everyone is loving this as I expected. You're getting a lot of love on YouTube as well. And just such great information. I really think it's amazing how you have leveraged so many different types of tools. I think a lot of us can get stuck with our like favorite tools, and you have been able to really leverage the best parts and pull them all together for a very cohesive engine. I'm gonna just come up with some sayings now. Um, but truly, like, it's just really great. I certainly follow you. I purchased your book. Like, I am a big Molly fan, everybody. So you'll hear me shouting her out any chance I get. So I encourage you all to follow her as well. But thank you again for taking the time and for sharing so much. It's just always incredible when you're able to join us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And congrats, everybody. I am so excited to see more of what's coming out of She Builds.
Thank you. And all of you, talk to you soon and have a wonderful